My name is Scott Griswold, and I work with ASAP Ministries. But I want to take you back to a story that goes back quite a few years. My mother didn't think she could have children of her own, so she and my father adopted a little boy. Within 2 months, she was pregnant with another little boy, and in less than 3 years, a daughter was also born. So she had her hands really full. So they decided that's enough. There'd be no more. But 5 years went by, and to her great surprise, guess what? She found out she was pregnant. It was not going to be easy, she knew that, but she thought, I'll make it. That is until she came down with a really bad case of German measles, otherwise known as rubella. It was right during the most dangerous time in her first trimester. The doctor warned her. He said the baby could be blind, deaf, or mentally handicapped. She was devastated. She did not see how she could possibly handle a child like that with the challenges she had at home already. And the doctor urged her to have an abortion. That was a strange new thought to her. She'd never considered it. Was it right? Was it compassionate to the baby if it was going to be that messed up? Was it best for the family? I don't know what all went through her mind, but her heart was thrown into turmoil. And so she and my father, they prayed a whole lot. She decided she would try to see a lady doctor, somebody she thought she could understand her heart, who could understand her heart and give her advice. But somehow she wasn't able to make that appointment. Instead, she came across an uncle of hers named Dr. Ziprick, who worked in Loma Linda. She poured out her heart to him, her worries, her fears, her confusion, and he simply said, leave the baby in God's hands. You can trust him. So she went home a lot more at peace. She'd keep her fourth child. And when he came, it was a baby boy. My mother watched. She watched carefully, still that concern welling up in her. With little eyes, were those little eyes tracking as she moved? As she clapped her hands, could he hear? She watched his little brain develop, and he was perfectly fine. She found out later that the lady doctor she wasn't able to talk to would have really pushed her to have an abortion. I never met that lady, but I did meet Dr. Ziprick. I told him thank you with all my heart, because you see, that baby inside was me. I am so incredibly thankful for my mother's courage and for my father's support and for a godly doctor who gave such wise advice. I am so thankful to my God for the way he has watched over me and brought me out safe. You know, there's people out there who have similar stories to this, people who are close to being aborted. Well, there's famous singers. There's a football player like Tim Tebow who won the Heisman Trophy. They too are extremely thankful for life. But way too many others are not so fortunate. Just how many are aborted in America? The statistics that I've found come out clearly from humanlife.org in the article, She's a Child, Not a Choice. Here's what they are. 3,315 babies are aborted every single day. Since 1973, in the United States alone, more than 51 million babies have been killed. In fact, it says no country has been more permissive with abortion laws than the U.S. 1 out of every 3 children conceived in the United States is aborted. I am absolutely staggered by the enormity of those numbers. 51 million children aborted. That is 1/6 of our present population. I am crushed by the reality that each of those babies could have had the chance to grow, to play, to study, to graduate, to marry, and explore this wonderful world. What have we done? Long ago, Jesus' disciples tried to shoo away the little children and their mothers. And Jesus made it very clear that the little ones were important to him. Let the little children come. Don't forbid them. Today, he sees and loves every child in the womb. The little one inside is so precious. I remember how we battled for the life of a little preemie named Willie in the Oakland Children's Hospital. He was born too soon, yet he was perfectly formed. It was just that his lungs, they were too soft. He couldn't breathe on his own. Church members came, they joined me, and we huddled around his tiny crib and his brave, precious mother, Loretta. We prayed, we pleaded for his life. But he didn't make it. And we really cried, we really mourned when he was gone. Yet today, as we are speaking now, babies just like him are being aborted. Let's let our hearts be broken with the things that break God's heart. On the day when I was conceived in 1965, All the instructions for this Scott's brown hair, hazel eyes, skinny, tall frame, and even my basic personality, they were there in that single cell in my mother's womb. And after that, just add water, nutrition, time, and here I am. By day 21 after conception, my heart was beating. My ears were showing. By the second month, my little brain was buzzing. I could even hiccup. And by the third month, the unique fingerprints that I have to this day had formed. David wrote in Psalm 139, "You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed. Your thoughts about me are too many to count." Surely, if we love God, we must love those who are not yet born. For our Father, their Father, loves them, and He wants them alive. Oh friend, if this is too painful to you because you've had an abortion, or maybe encourage someone else to do so, please don't lose heart. There is hope, there is grace, there is comfort and healing for you too. I want you to hear the stories of two ladies I recently met in Orlando, Florida. Antoinette was nearly aborted. Diane had 2 abortions and experienced a lot of regret, guilt, and heartache for years. She recently found healing. Together, these 2 ladies are leading a ministry called Mafkia. They know there are so many women who couldn't see any other option, who didn't fully understand what they were doing, who wish they had never had an abortion. If you or someone you know has experienced the pain of having an abortion, you too can enjoy the forgiveness, the healing that God delights to bring. And so I want you to read about their ministry at mafgia.com. That's MAFGIA.com. Listen to the full broadcast of their stories on the 3ABN interview posted on their website under the heading Blog. And then after you listen, I think you'll agree with the statement on their website. It is the beginning of a redemptive grace revolution. So what can we do about these heartbreaking statistics, the stories of abortion? There is much we can do, and I hope you'll go right now and get a pen and a paper and start writing down the ideas. Stop the podcast if you need to get them down so that you have the information and can follow up right away before life just moves on. I hope nobody will walk away without doing something towards this tragedy. Here are 7 things we can do. Number 1, support Christian crisis pregnancy centers. Girls who are scared about an unexpected pregnancy don't know where to go, but if they can visit one of these centers or call hotlines like Option Line Hotline provided by Heartbeat International, they can get solid help. These centers typically provide pregnancy testing. Sometimes they're able to do a sonogram and show them what the baby is like. They can provide a caring counselor who will listen and talk about options for keeping the child or adopting it out. They can be beside them as they learn how to care for a child if they've never had that opportunity or experience before. You can donate money or be trained as a volunteer to help. Number 2, tell the truth with love. Maybe you have a friend who's about to make such an incredible decision as this. Talk to them with truth. Let them know what you have learned, but do so with love and understanding. You can also share links to pictures and videos that show the beauty and intricacies of babies inside the womb. Just there on Facebook, posting a picture, posting a video. For example, I just watched the TED Talks under TED.com talks/Alexander TSIARAS, Conception to Birth Visualized. Maybe you won't catch all that in that moment, but you can go back and see it online, or you can just look up there, Conception to Birth Visualized. It's powerful, it's amazing, it's something worth seeing. You can also give out postcards and pamphlets to friends and strangers that talk about abortion and explain the true facts that are many, many times downplayed by those who are pushing abortion. For example, you can download or order She's a Child, Not a Choice from humanlife.org. I did that earlier today, just printed it out in color. You can see it a little bit there, but you can see it better online. And I tell you, it really opens the mind. Number 3, teach high school students responsible values. Incredible option at a place when they're so vulnerable and so ready to learn, especially if it's presented by other young people. When we lived in Thailand, my 2 teenagers and a couple of college volunteers joined me at the local high school. We got permission from the teachers to talk to 664 high school students about the dangers of alcohol, drugs, and premarital sex. You see, Thailand has one of the highest rates of teen pregnancy in Asia. There are so many abortions that some say the mother's womb is one of the most dangerous places in the country because of what could happen to him there. My daughter took a beautiful red rose at that program at the high school, and she compared it to a girl's purity. She urged them to protect its rare beauty rather than let someone crush the petals and destroy its tender fragrance. You also can help young people make good decisions too. Your loving Christian family can be an example of what they could choose instead of the heartaches of premarital sex and abortion. Number 4, pray for missionaries. I'm thinking in particular of ASAP-sponsored national workers out there who often are encountering mothers who have so many children they can't imagine giving birth to another. They also meet unwed mothers who are frightened, totally unsure what to do. In Cambodia, for example, there are approximately 73,000 abortions a year, and many are done illegally, and they're very dangerous. Some mothers will die because they have had an abortion there. Pray that we at ASAP Ministries and other places will be able to provide effective training for those workers out there in Southeast Asia so they can give caring counseling to the people. Number 5, encourage people to contact Mafkia. That's the one I mentioned earlier. I've never before seen a supporting ministry in the Seventh-day Adventist Church that's directly addressing the problem of abortion and the heart-wrenching needs of those who have had an abortion. I encourage you to visit their website, mafkia.com, listen to their stories, and get involved. Number 6, make this ministry your career. We've talked about America, Thailand, and Cambodia, and they all need you. There are many more places. I think of India. There are 6.5 million children aborted in India every year. That's 15% of the global total. Then there's China. 13 million children are aborted there. A field researcher reports that most of these abortions are forced on the people by the government who is trying to control population growth. They don't want it. And the number of women committing suicide in China is way higher than anywhere else in the world. You can imagine why. What might you be able to do if you committed the rest of your life to helping pregnant women in crisis? Just think of it. Finally, number 7, pray. Pray for the preborn children. Pray for the weary, scared mothers. Pray for the absentee fathers. Pray for the relatives. Then pray again for the vulnerable children. We can make a huge difference. I want to close with a poem I wrote for my mother's birthday last year. It's called I'll Carry Both of You. Tiny baby in the womb, safe, secure, and warm. Heart that beats, toes that stretch, delicate in form. But the mother feels no peace, how her heart is torn. Broken promise, loved and left, lonely and forlorn. Thoughts of future, cold and dark, beat on her like rain. Take a pill, abort this quick, and wash away the pain. Then the sunbeam of love's truth stirs her mind awake. The life inside is not her own, how can she its choice make? Through the clouds the sun shines clear, and somewhere high above, she sees a father looking down, whispering in his love. In my arms I'll carry you, through the storm so wild. I'll wipe your tears and calm your fears, hold you as my child. Did you know my heart feels pain? I've been abandoned too. Trust your future in my hands. I'll carry both of you. A smile steals across her face, and life stirs deep within. She takes a step, walks forth in faith, their new life to begin. Let's help them take that step of faith. Let's reach the world ASAP.